Hi everyone, my name's Chris. It's 11:59. This run is guaranteed to last at least a year and possibly longer. We're gonna start it at exactly noon here on June 13th, 2022. Just to be super clear, over the course of this run, my computer's operating system is in Spanish and the date displayed here is gonna be day, month, year. Here we go. Woo! Okay, it begins. There we go. Right away, we're going to be going for two pretty crazy achievements side by side, which is hardcore. So we got to get to 1 billion cookies without purchasing any upgrades, as well as Neverclick. Not true Neverclick. So we got to get to 1 million, clicking only 15 times, which we just did to buy our first cursor. So I've spent a good amount of time playing in Speedrun and Cookie Clicker, enough so that it was actually worth it to write software to find optimal or near optimal purchase routes. So right now, this is called Nevercore in the code. So Neverclick and Hardcore together. And pretty much on the right here, we just have a list of purchases to make, and pretty much for our whole year of gameplay, I'm going to be using this as a kind of rough guide for what purchases to make and when. Specifically, you know, it assumes you buy one cursor and then shows, okay, so buy 4 cursors, buy a bunch of grandmas. And these columns on the right are how many hours into the game you should about be at when you make that purchase. And then I believe this is total cookies you've produced and your estimated current clicks per second. Okay, so to explain why this run is interesting or significant, I need to talk about shadow achievements a little bit in the game. So Cookie Clicker has hundreds of achievements, but there's a few shadow achievements that are particularly difficult to get. Specifically, one of these is to literally just manage a game of Cookie Clicker for a year. And we're going to try to do all the shadow achievements, all the normal achievements, all the upgrades, all the heavenly upgrades. The goal is to get every other achievement done before a year, so that this one is the last one we get, and we cannot do any better on a 100% speedrun of Cookie Clicker. Now there are 2 exceptions, which is third party and cheated cookies taste awful, because 2 of the shadow achievements are literally to install a mod and to cheat. So besides those 2 though, we're going to be doing everything. Here we go. First golden cookie. That's the one we wanted. So just this first part of getting to 1 million cookies with just buildings and no clicking is going to take between 30 minutes and an hour, depending on how many good golden cookies we get. So if we get 3 frenzies, it should just take 30 minutes. If we get click frenzy or luckies, 2 other kinds of golden cookies, then this is going to take more like an hour. We're going to be playing on Steam, but still, just in case we ever use the web version for some reason, no console, no Open Sesame. For those new to Cookie Clicker, if you just add says Open Sesame, one word, after your bakery's name up here, then you open a debug console and can give yourself all achievements. And if you look up 100% Cookie Clicker speedrun, the video is like 20 seconds and it's just someone doing that. Have to get all upgrades, heavenly upgrades, achievements, shadow achievements, besides the 2 we mentioned, which reminds me, no mods, no add-ons, and no changing the date on the computer. So I'm just screen catching the actual date on my computer clock right here. And lastly, saving and reloading the game is allowed. So if you go here, you can export your game as a text file and reload it. This means that we will be what's called save scumming for this speedrun. Most people watching this are probably going to fall into one of 2 categories, which is 1, you came here from Minecraft content or somewhere else and have maybe played Cookie Clicker for like a few days a few years ago, or you came here for the Cookie Clicker and you have years of active play time on the game. So for these videos, I'm gonna have to do my best to not over-explain to the veterans and not under-explain to the people who are new. But save scumming, essentially, or just save state manipulation, is more or less where a random event occurs in the game, and you can get... normally this would be so useful, but Click Frenzy is not our friend right now. Like that. And you save the game right before that random event happens, and then continuously reload the game until that random event turns out in your favor. And I mean, this is used in the Pokemon community, this is used in a bunch of other speedrun communities, and a lot of cookie clicker players do not like save scumming. I'm still straight up just following the route here. If you're like super opposed to save scumming though, then look at this speedrun as an opportunity though, because if this works, then this will be proof that save scumming is so powerful that your speed of a completion of a game depends entirely on just meeting a hard time requirement achievement. Also with save scumming, this speedrun is just the right amount of challenging. So just look at this for a second. The biggest challenge for us in this speedrun is going to be sugar lumps, and that's because there's a large amount of achievements that just straight up depend on getting a raw amount of sugar lumps. And how quickly you get these is very largely out of your control. You start out getting about one every 24 hours, and after a month-ish of gameplay, you get them every 18 hours, at best, if you play actively. So to get all the sugar lumps we need for all the achievements is gonna take us a little over 2 years if we were to just pop in, collect them, and leave. If you play the garden, Wiki currently says it'll take you about 1.5 years to do this. Additionally, this math is still being done with 18 buildings, and there's now 19 because an update recently came out. So yeah, sugar lumps, no! Okay, that's all to say, this run is right on the edge where 1 year is like kind of the boundary of what may or may not even be possible. It's also summer here in Riverside County, California, where the temperature gets like 90s or 100s for most of the summer for like the next 3 months. So, you know, I really needed an excuse to run my hot computer for like 8 hours a day. And I'll be honest, one of the reasons I really like Cookie Clicker is because I'm super into speedrunning, but have horrible coordination. So I do have a background in math and programming, so a game where speedrunning it comes down to like an optimization problem, and executing it pretty much comes down to clicking quickly in the same spot. I guess actually while we're just waiting, we can knock out some of the easier achievements. Done. My wife told me to name the bakery Python in honor of the Python program that is calculating our route. There we go. Go. Let's see, and then we want full screen off. And this is actually going to be the first new achievement. There we go. Stifling the press that was added in this last update. Go, Cookie Dunker. Oh, another rule. No auto-clicking and no fast-clicking. So fast clicking is actually a really specific term defined on speedrun.com for Cookie Clicker, because there's actually like a spectrum of techniques between just, you know, tapping your mouse's click button and a straight up 1,000 clicks per second auto clicker. Like one common technique is you take your mouse, yes, and you remap the click button to the scroll wheel and then turn your mouse upside down and rush it along your table as fast as you can. And with that, you can get like 200 clicks per second without an auto clicker. We won't be doing that. So like pretty much the rule is with our, like, you know, we can use both hands or whatever, but the only way we can get clicks is by tapping the left click button on our mouse. Okay, here's the rules, man. Hey, okay. There we go. Well, now we can, let's just see. Yep, there it is. So now we can actually click on the thing cookie, but it's insignificant without upgrades, so not much has really changed though. If we get a click frenzy though, now it is useful. So this is, I guess, actually a decent opportunity to just kind of show how the software works. Is like, don't worry, most of this speedrun footage will not be programming stuff. This is like just publicly available, so if any of y'all want to just go look up this code base, you can come check it out. But I have one program that, in a nutshell, just simulates the game of Cookie Clicker. Another program generates like near optimal routes for idle clicking games, and this isn't just Cookie Clicker. I started work on Adventure Capitalist also. A bunch of files with version data, so like this is what, you know, where all the like upgrades, prices, and building rates is stored. And then we have another program here that just has some basic like parameters for different speedrun categories. So like down here, we just did Nevercore, and the target cookies is 1,000,000, pretty much near 0 CPS. The math gets weird if you have 0 clicks per second, so I just set it to a really low number. Starts out with purchasing a cursor, and you're not allowed to purchase upgrades, so hardcore mode is in true. But now we're done with Nevercore, and we want to just do normal hardcore, which isn't actually going to be that much different, but you can see we can set our clicks per second to 8 instead of 0, and you know, now the target cookies is 1,000,000,000. Go here. Hardcore. Yep, there we go. And so here's our hardcore route. Into the Wild. First book is finished. I think it'll be interesting to see how many books I can read over the course of the playthrough. Hey! Oh. Huh. Cookie Storm did the trick, man. Cookie Storm did the trick. Ah, yes. The upgrades! So I have another route called Long Haul. What this pretty much does, it generates a route that goes as far out as it possibly can. Right now it's programmed to go up to 85 quintillion cookies baked, and that's just when our first ascension is going to happen. So because the game is actually really complicated, I made a lot of like shortcuts when writing the code here, and so it does give pretty much ballpark estimates. I think we are, let's see, we just did bank 34, and you can see next we're supposed to save up for our next temple. But one of the things the software doesn't do is take into account the change in kitten effectiveness that your achievements give you. So kittens are upgrades that give you faster cookie production rate based on how many achievements you have. And so even though we're supposed to save for temple right now, what I'll sometimes do is just, if there's an easy achievement, like there are 50 mines, I'll just kind of grab it quickly. Like I'll look for low-hanging achievements that are easy to get, instead of like sticking to the route, like, you know, sticking to the route super literally. So dumb, but now it actually looks like I'm staring right at the cookie. So right now we're saving up for serendipity, and it's gonna take a while. So I figure while we're waiting on that, I'll go ahead and finish up coding the rest of like the buildings and upgrades in here, because right now this only goes up to the quintillions and stops at fractal engines, so gotta add in the rest of the stuff. All right, so what I went ahead and did was I programmed up all the buildings and every upgrade under 1 octillion cookies. Pretty much once we get to around an octillion cookies, so like mid-game, strategy's not really going to depend as much on like the specific order that we make our purchases in, but more so on the combos we get from the dragon and the garden and natural golden cookies. So yeah, we don't gotta worry about this. Is still only like a third or a fourth of, you know, the upgrades and stuff, but we won't have to code up any more than this. I think after this frenzy, I'm gonna call it quits for today. Right, it is the next morning, And our goal is pretty much to get as far as we can on the route before the sugar lump reaches maturity. We're saving up for essence of dough right now. Um, I'm still feeling pretty tired. I think I usually wake up about right now. So I'm gonna switch to the laptop just so I can go lie on the couch and click golden cookies and maybe fall asleep again. With the first day just about over, it looks like we've got 11% of the upgrades and 12% of the achievements, and we've started working on portals. So I'm gonna call it for this video, and I'll see you all in the next one.